Postgame show on the Padres Radio Network. Coming up, we'll deliver a full recap of today's game, including highlights from the biggest moments. Listen to Mike Shildt's postgame comments. Plus, we'll bring you today's play of the game. From the Padres Radio Network, here's Sam Levitt.
Here's Jake Cronenworth. First pitch swinging, ground ball to right side, base hit through. Jackson Merrill's going to score. Padres have a 3-2 lead on the two-out single by Jake Cronenworth.
Little two-out magic.
Jake Cronenworth delivers in the top of the 10th inning, and a little deja vu for the San Diego Padres on this Tuesday night in San Francisco as the Padres win in 10 innings for a second consecutive night. The final score, Padres 3 and the Giants 2, as the Padres have won the first two games of this four-game set in San Francisco. Welcome into our Jamul Casino Resort post-game show. Sam Levitt with you inside our San Diego studios. Players, kickstart your summer of fun with Jamul Casino Resort's Players Party Saturday, June 14th. Score $20 in free play, then enjoy live music, DJs, and best of all, free food. See JamulCasino.com for details and get ready to party, play, and win. What a win for the Padres here tonight. For a second consecutive game, the Padres offense wasn't doing anything at all. You're sitting there thinking as the game gets later and later, when are the Padres going to wake up the bats? And they woke up just in time. We'll talk about each and every aspect of this game. This was another very low-scoring game into the 10th inning that just has a ton to break down. We'll go back to San Francisco here for Mike Shildt. We have the full game recap, all the radio highlights coming your way as well. But a few things I want to get to here right off the bat. Number one, the obvious. Manny Machado, what a night. 4-hit game. The 2 RBI single with 2 outs in the 9th inning against a great closer in Camilo Doval, who had been red hot as of late. Amazing moment for Manny Machado. What a night, what a swing, what a moment for Manny. But this win was about so much more than that moment for Manny Machado. Let's get to a few guys that deserve a ton of praise. Number one, Ryan Berger. Really solid in this game. Coming up from AAA, first major league start. I know this Giants offense, collectively, they're not swinging the bats well at all right now. But for Berger to come up, deliver 5 innings, give up 2 runs, he really made one critical mistake. That was the Ramos home run to make it 2-0 all the way back in the third. Ryan Berger was really good. You could argue in this game, even though Manny drove in 2, even though Jake Cronenworth drove in the go-ahead run in the 10th inning, you could argue that Sean Reynolds was the MVP of this game for the Padres tonight. What a job by Sean Reynolds. 3 scoreless innings, a scoreless 6th, a scoreless 7th, a scoreless 8th inning. He was absolutely terrific on a night where we knew, we talked about it pregame, that the Padres bullpen would be short. Getting a phone call here. Okay, I'm on the radio. Stop calling me. That's my fault for my phone not being on silent. But Sean Reynolds, scoreless 6th inning, 7th inning, 8th inning. Again, on a night where the Padres bullpen, we knew it was going to be short. Back-to-back days pitching for Jason Adam, Robert Suarez, Adrian Morejon, and we'll get to one of the high-leverage guys, Jeremiah Estrada, who came in for the 10th inning, did a great job. Get to him in a second. But what a job by Sean Reynolds coming in, throwing 45 pitches and throwing 3 scoreless innings. And you can add Yuki Matsui to the list as well. Scoreless 9th inning. Every out the Padres got tonight ended up being really, really big, especially out of the bullpen. And the Padres just find a way late. They used Brandon Lockridge's speed, was a huge part of this win. Lockridge gets on base with an infield single in the 9th inning. Then the couple of walks, the RBI, the 2 RBI single by Manny. I mean, if Brandon Lockridge doesn't get on in that spot, who knows? Giants may win this game 2-0. So Brandon Lockridge getting on with his speed to start that rally in the 9th inning. He's another guy you got to mention in tonight's win. And what you love about this win and what you love about the last 2 nights for the Padres, has it been super pretty? Has it been explosive offensively? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. But you look up, the Padres are 35-24, They've won 8 out of their last 11 games. And even though you don't feel like they are clicking on all cylinders, and I think that's safe to say, I think they would say that right now, especially offensively, they are finding ways to win, which is typically a trademark of a really good baseball team. The Padres found a way to somehow win last night, even in a game where they didn't score a run in regulation. They found a way down to their final out here tonight to find a way to win it. And you love that. And oh, by the way, the Mets are leading the Dodgers 5-4 right now in the 9th inning. If the Mets hold on, well, guess what? The Padres and Dodgers are tied for first place in the National League West. We'll keep you updated on that score. But again, the great thing about this game, much like last night, yeah, Manny, big 2-run single, huge 2-run single. Jake Cronenworth, a huge RBI single in the 10th inning. But the other guys you got to mention, and there are so many guys that you can mention that were sort of co-MVPs of this game, if you will, and there were a lot of options. What a job by Bergert. What a job by Reynolds. What a job by Matsui. What a job by Estrada. What a job by Brandon Lockridge to get on base to start that rally. So many different contributors that when it's all said and done contributed to what was a pretty memorable 3-2 win for the Padres in 10, a second consecutive win for the Padres in 10 innings. Think about it this way, how crazy this series has been so far. The Padres have scored a grand total of 3 runs. They have 1 hit with a runner in scoring position, and they've got 2 wins in 2 games. That's how weird, kind of wacky, and wild this has been the last couple of nights in San Francisco. But if you're a Padres fan, you will absolutely take it, and we'll see if the Padres can keep it rolling tomorrow. When we come back, we recap this one from start to finish. We'll go back to San Francisco, hear from Mike Shildt. Again, the final in 10, Padres 3 and the Giants 2. Our postgame coverage continues after this on the Padres Radio Network. Our Jamul Casino Resort Padres postgame show continues here on the Padres Radio Network. Final score, Padres 3 and the Giants 2 in 10 innings. In San Francisco tonight, Padres win for a second consecutive night against the Giants in 10. We'll hear from Mike Shildt coming up in a little bit. We'll recap this game from start to finish in a moment as well. I do need to correct something that I said at the very end of our opening segment, and I guess I just am too excited about the Padres win here tonight. And I also tweeted this out, and I couldn't be more wrong. I said before the break, the Padres had scored a grand total of 3 runs with 1 hit with a runner in scoring position and have won 2 games. Well, it's actually they've scored 4 runs, and they have 2 hits with runners in scoring position, and they've won both games. So I was wrong on both numbers. Guess I was excited. I don't know. My brain kind of turned off there for a second. But either way, Padres win it 3-2 after a 1-0 win in 10 yesterday. You get the point. The offense has not done a whole lot, and the Padres still have found a way to get a couple of wins to begin this series and this road trip in San Francisco. Again, we'll hear from Mike Shildt coming up a little bit later. First, let's recap this one from start to finish.
Which moments determine the outcome of today's game? We'll paint you a picture with our game highlights on the Padres Radio Network.
Our game highlights as we recap game 2 of this 4-game set between the Padres and the Giants. Couple of young right-handers going at it tonight. Landon Root for San Francisco, Ryan Bergert on the mound for the Padres. Both guys were putting up zeros in the first couple of innings, including Bergert working out of a 2-on, nobody-out jam in the bottom of the second. Root pitched the scoreless third. In the bottom half, Patrick Bailey hit a leadoff double high off the right field wall. With 1 out and Bailey still on second, Elliot Ramos dug in.
1-2, swung on, driven to center field. Pretty well hit. Jackson Merrill is going back. He's at the warning track at the wall. Looks up. This one's gone. 2-run home run for Elliot Ramos, and the Giants have a 2-0 lead here in the third.
Giants then got a 2-out single from Wilmer Flores. Matt Chapman was next.
From the 3-2 pitch, hot shot down the left field line. It's going to fall in for a base hit. Tyler Wade's got a long way to go. Let's see if they're going to send the runner. They are. Here comes Flores. Here comes the throw. He slides, and he is out at the plate. Nice relay throw by Manny Machado. And Flores is gunned down for the final out here in the third inning.
A great relay, Wade to Machado to Maldonado at home plate, and that kept it a 2-0 deficit. Ended up being very big in this game when all was said and done. Padres then had a nice scoring chance in the 4th inning, 2 on with 1 out. They did not score. Bergert settled in to go 5 innings, allowed just the 2-run home run to Ramos. Sean Reynolds entered after that. He pitched the scoreless 6th inning. Padres then loaded the bases against Giants reliever Eric Miller in the top of the 7th inning. They did it on a hit by pitch and a couple of walks, but Miller got Luis Ariz to ground out. The Padres came up empty again. Reynolds tossed the scoreless bottom of the 7th inning to keep it 2-0. Tyler Rogers then took the mound for the Giants in the 8th inning. Padres were rallying back-to-back singles from Manny Machado and Jackson Merrill to start the inning, but then Gavin Sheets hit into a double play. Xander Bogaerts grounded out. The inning was over. Reynolds went back out for the 8th and pitched a 1-2-3 frame. So, with all that said, we went to the 9th inning. Padres still trailing just 2-0. Giants closer Camilo Doval entered. He got the first out, but then Brandon Lockridge hit an infield single to get the tying run to the plate. Doval then struck out Elias Diaz. The game was left up to Fernando Tatis Jr., and he walked to put the tying runs on base. With Luis Ariz at the plate, Doval uncorked a wild pitch, but it ricocheted back to the catcher so hard that only Lockridge had the chance to move up to third base, and then moments later, Fernando Tatis Jr. stole. Padres had the tying runs in scoring position. Luis Ariz then walked. The bases all loaded up. It was Camilo Doval against Manny Machado. Power versus power.
Line drive towards left field. It's going to fall in for a base hit. Lockridge is going to score. Here comes Tatis. Here comes the throw. He slides. He's safe. Tie ball game. They throw behind Manny now. They might have him a run down. They'll allow Manny to go to second base to make sure that the run doesn't score. Padres have tied it up in the top of the 9th inning on a 2-out single by Manny Machado.
Who else?
A big hit for Manny Machado, a 2-run single. He went up to second base as well. a 2-2 game. Taval struck out Jackson Merrill to end the inning. Yuki Matsui came on in the bottom half of the ninth inning. The game tied at 2. He pitched a quick 1-2-3 frame. So for a second straight evening, we went to extra innings in San Francisco, tied at 2. Spencer Bivens came on for the Giants in the top of the 10th. Jackson Merrill was the Padres' automatic runner on second base. Bivens got a pop out, a ground out. Merrill went to third. The inning was left up with 2 men away for Jake Cronenworth.
Here's Jake Cronenworth. First pitch swinging, ground ball to right side, base hit through. Jackson Merrill's going to score. Padres have a 3-2 lead on the 2-out single by Jake Cronenworth.
Little 2-out magic.
A big hit for Cronenworth, a 3-2 Padres lead. That's all they scored in their half of the 10th. They had that 3-2 lead going bottom 10. Jeremiah Estrada came in for the save opportunity. Christian Koss came in to pinch run. He was the Giants' automatic runner on second base. Giants elected to lay down a sacrifice bunt with Casey Schmidt. That got Koss to third base. That brought up the top of the Giants lineup with the infield in. Elliot Ramos grounded out the shortstop. Xander Bogaerts did a good job holding the runner through to first base for out number 2. So the tying run 90 feet away from scoring. The game left up to the Giants' Jung-Hoo Lee.
The first pitch to Hooley. Hot shot up the middle, but Xander's there. He backhands it over to first base in time, and the Padres win it 3-2. Jeremiah Estrada slams his chest. Now he gives a high five to Elias Diaz. They share a hug, and the Padres are going to celebrate another come-from-behind victory.
What a job by Jeremiah Estrada. He strands the automatic runner on base. The tying run 90 feet away. And the final score in 10, the Padres 3 and the Giants 2. Padres improved to 35-24 with the win. Giants dropped to 33-28. Padres had 3 runs on 10 hits, 2 errors. The Giants 2 runs, 6 hits, and no errors. Padres get the win for Yuki Matsui, who improves to 1-1. Jeremiah Estrada picks up his second save of the season. And the losing pitcher, Spencer Bivens, who gave up an unearned run in the top of the 10th inning, he drops to 1-2. What a win for the Padres. A second straight night where you're looking at the offense really throughout the ball game saying, hey, come on, guys, do something. And they do something just in time to tie the game in the 9th inning here tonight, get a run in the 10th inning, and the pitching, which has been terrific in this series, does the rest. We'll step aside when we come back. Hear from Padres manager Mike Shildt. We have a lot to do. Full look at the out-of-town scoreboard, our daily awards. We'll get to your phone calls coming up later as well at 833-288-0973. Again, phone number to call is always 833-288-0973. Final score in 10, Padres 3, Giants 2. We hear from Padres manager Mike Shildt after this. Welcome back to the Jamul Casino Resort postgame show, brought to you by the all-new Jamul Casino Resort. Players, kickstart your summer of fun with Jamul Casino Resort's Players Party, Saturday, June 14th. Sam Levitt with you inside our San Diego studios as we continue to wrap this one up. Padres win it 3-2 in 10 innings at Oracle Park in San Francisco. We'll go back to San Francisco here for Mike Shildt in a moment after tonight's win. I do want to mention I was actually at the Jamul Casino Resort earlier today. They treated me to a very, very nice lunch inside the Tony Gwynn Sports Pub, and then I took a little tour of the casino, and I got a little sneak peek of the brand new resort as well. And my goodness, it is really, really amazing. I'm so excited for the full casino resort to open. Just an amazing spa, pool, gym. The rooms are going to be amazing. I mean, the whole thing is just outstanding. The food was outstanding. The casino, just incredibly impressive, clean, so many great spaces. So I had such a great time today going out to the Jamul Casino Resort, and they're getting ready to open up that resort portion. So I can't wait to get back out there once that's open and spend the night out there in Jamul and have a good time. So be sure to, again, check out the Players Party Saturday, June 14th at the all-new Jamul Casino Resort. And a big thank you to Jamul Casino Resort for having me out earlier today. And a Padres win later on tonight. See, that's good karma right there. See, day I go out to Jamul, Padres have a really, really nice win. Well, the Padres had a lot go right in this game after the runners in scoring position. The offense throughout most of this one for a second straight night was not going the way they wanted, but the Padres found enough offense. The huge 2-out, 2-run single in the top of the ninth inning for Manny Machado to tie the game at 2. Jake Cronenworth, a big RBI single in the 10th inning to give the Padres a 3-2 lead. But again, you cannot tell the story of this game without mentioning what the pitching staff did, including Ryan Bergert, his first major league start, rookie right-hander. Big responsibility coming up from AAA. Really good. 5 innings, 2 runs given up, gave up a 2-run home run, and that was it. And then what a job by the Padres bullpen. Sean Reynolds in particular, 3 scoreless innings to keep it a 2-run deficit. Yuki Matsui a scoreless 9th inning. Jeremiah Estrada gets the save with a scoreless 10th inning. And by the way, in this 3-game win streak, the bullpen has played an enormous role in all 3 wins. 15 scoreless innings combined in this 3-game win streak now, and it's all been a little bit different. Yesterday, it was about keeping the game scoreless. On Sunday against the Pirates, it was about keeping the deficit where it was, allowing the Padres to come back. Same kind of thing in this game today. So how about the bullpen on a day where you thought the Padres would be without Adam, Suarez, and Morajón, who had all pitched back-to-back days? Other guys in the bullpen, Reynolds, Matsui, and Estrada, got it done. Excellent job. Let's go back to San Francisco, hear from the Padres skipper.
Let's pull up a seat in the manager's office and hear from Padres manager Mike Shildt. Served up by Sin Lee Food, where fresh meets flavor. Find farm fresh produce, bold Asian spices, and gourmet ingredients at 4665 El Cajon Boulevard. Sin Lee Food, the cook's Asian resource.
Mike, I know you got a lot of heroes again, but especially with the state of your bullpen, the way that those guys worked tonight, what can you say about that?
Yeah, I mean, will to win across the board. All guys on board, just dedicated to the bottom line, figuring out a way to get a win. And so, start with Berger. I know we want to talk about the bullpen, but it was fantastic and got stretched a little bit, not too much, but, got through 5, and that was huge. Outside of the pitch to Ramos, I mean, clearly pitched very, very well. And then, it had worked out where, we had a length guy behind him with Reynolds, and he went out and was fantastic. 3 innings, battled his tail off. Came in, gave the boys a jolt after the end of the 8th. And so, can't say enough about that. And then, it was Yuki's spot, Yastrzemski, in that part of the order. And he went and took it down, and, Estrada brought it home. So, those guys were fantastic. We talk about, bullpens, especially when you're playing a lot of games and a lot of close games, and then extra inning games. You're going to have guys in different spots, and good bullpens have guys that can pitch in different spots. You don't miss much.
Obviously, every win counts the same. But what do these 2 wins, kind of the way you guys dug in together, what does that do for you guys?
Yeah, I know it just reinforces who we are. I mean, we talk about this fairly frequently. We have a lot of wins like this, and it just becomes even more ingrained, like I started with, just the will to it. And, the winners find solutions, just got to find a way, man. And we're able to do it tonight, clearly. And I just, wrote down even before we scored in the 8th that I loved our approaches throughout the game. And people say, well, you didn't have any runs through 8. But with Roop, 4 or 5 balls, just hitting lasers right at Lee. Louis lines out to Schmidt. Just good at bats. He settled in, got a little better, Roop. And then, really good at bats against Rogers. Had a great approach. Manny down the line. Manny's bats were fantastic all night, clearly. Big knock with 2 outs to tie it. But great at bats against Roop. Jackson, we had some action out there, just couldn't quite scratch. And then great at bats against Dotel, clearly, started with Crony, really. He made an out, but great at bat. And then, Places earlier at bat, great at a couple at bats. And, Toddy, again, going the other way, no guarantees in this game, but man, really had great at bat, worked the walk. Louis, same thing, didn't chase out of the zone, ready to hit, and then Manny did his thing, and great at bats. Crony with the big knock off Bivens later. So, it's just good baseball.
What do you notice about Manny in those situations?
What I appreciated about him tonight was similar with Toddy and almost every guy, but Manny, when he's just in a good spot and just got that nice easy stroke going, and just find just putting a good swing on the baseball. When he does that consistently, watch out.
What can you say about Fernando? Obviously, a little bit struggling, but he's found himself, be it a walk or on the bases, in the middle of things recently.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought it up because it's similar to Bogey. We were talking about that earlier today, how Bogey's done such a great job on the bases for us. And done a lot of little things, made some nice plays later. But the question specific to Toddy is, when you look at it holistic, like how does a player beat the other team? And this guy has got every tool in the toolbox. It's on display, and defensively, shut down arm, getting good jumps, holding guys to singles, keeping the forces and double plays in order, which we're getting on the bases. He was flying around third. Another gear when he stole that bag to get into position to be the tie and run. He just has so much talent to beat you. And of course, he can do it with the bat too. So just a special talent. Glad he's on our side.
Back to Manny, you've been around him a few years now. How does this year's offensive version compare to anything you've seen up close?
It's a good question, Dennis, because we've seen, it's my 4th year here and being a part of the club pretty closely, obviously, in the last 2 years. I just see a level of even more consistency and clarity of what he's doing, and I don't want to minimize that he hasn't had that previously because he's an all-star Silver Slugger from last year. I just see a guy that's really comfortable where he's at, trusting the guys around him, and not making the situation bigger than it is, just putting a good stroke on it, which is, one of the best right-handed swings that I've seen.
It's one of the benefits of having, you talk about the length in your lineup, and that's working really well, like everyone's getting a hit.
Yep.
When it's maybe the offense isn't going, someone is going to get a hit. Like Jake.
That's right.
Is that kind of one of the benefits too?
I think that's completely accurate. Yeah, the thing again I liked about tonight, it was just there was a lot of consistent quality at bats, and when you face tough pitches and you get in close games, there's no guarantee, but the more quality of bats you can string together, the better chances you have. And then somebody like Jake pops up and gets that big, proverbial big hit.
That was Padres manager Mike Shildt after this 3-2 win for the Padres in 10 against the San Francisco Giants. Sam Levitt back with you inside our San Diego studios as we continue to wrap this one up. And you heard there, Mike Shildt, first thing he was asked about was the bullpen and the pitching staff. And again, you can talk about Manny, obviously the big 2-out, 2-run hit in the 9th inning. Cronenworth RBI hit in the 10th inning to give the Padres the lead. But to me, the story of this game is what the pitching staff did, from Ryan Bergert being solid 5 innings, 2 runs given up, to just a terrific job out of the bullpen from Reynolds, Matsui, Estrada, combining for 5 scoreless innings in this game, including Sean Reynolds, 3 scoreless innings, keeping it a 2-run deficit. And I also thought just an interesting part of that, talking about the quality of plate appearances, and also Fernando Tatis Jr. You know, I do think it's worth mentioning that in that 9th inning, with 2 outs and Fernando representing the tying run at the plate, didn't try to do too much, didn't try to swing out of his shoes. He walks. Arise, sort of the same thing after that, not trying to necessarily be the hero with 2 runners in scoring position, tying runs on 2nd and 3rd. He walks, and that allowed Manny to come up with the bases loaded. I just like the fact that neither Tatis or Arise, you know, got out of their element there, chased outside the zone there as Duvall was struggling to find command. Just like that. I thought that was kind of a critical part of that 9th inning, getting Manny up with the bases loaded. You know, if Tatis or Rise, if they chase there and they don't get on base, the game's over. So they did a good job being pretty patient, commanding the strike. All in all, it sets up for a tie game in the 9th inning on the Manny 2-run single, and the Padres go on to win it. Phone number 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. Your phone calls when we come back on the Padres Radio Network. Postgame coverage continues here on the Padres Radio Network. Sam Levitt with you inside our San Diego studios. Final score, Padres 3 and the Giants 2 in 10 innings in San Francisco tonight. Padres have won the first 2 games of their series in San Francisco, first 2 games of this 7-game road trip, and the Padres also have won 3 in a row. They improve to 11 games above 500 at 35-24. By the way, the Mets were leading the Dodgers 5-4 in the 9th inning in LA, but Max Muncy, a home run to tie it in the 9th inning, and the Dodgers win it 6-5 in 10. So the Padres will just keep pace with the Dodgers, who remain a game ahead of them for first place in the National League West. And if you want to go and watch the video at some point of the ending in LA, Brandon Nimmo had a play on a fly ball to the warning track with 2 runners on first and second, and just sort of lost it, dropped in off the bat of Freddie Freeman, and that allowed the winning run to score in the bottom half of the 10th inning. So the Dodgers do win it 6-5 in 10, and the Padres will remain a game behind LA for first place, 1 game out. So that's the update from LA. We'll get to your phone calls here in a second. 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. We will go to the phones in just a moment. First, let's hear tonight's catch of the game.
Which defensive play had the biggest impact on today's game?
He is at the wall, leaps up, and he makes the catch.
This is the catch of the game.
Gonna hang a star for Jackson Merrill.
Reeled in by Anthony's Fish Grotto La Mesa, celebrating 80 years of seafood excellence.
And the 3-2 pitch, hot shot down the left field line. It's going to fall in for a base hit. Tyler Wade's got a long way to go. Let's see if they're going to send the runner. They are. Here comes Flores. Here comes the throw. He slides, and he is out at the plate. Nice relay throw by Manny Machado. And Flores is gunned down for the final out here in the 3rd inning.
Our catch of the game, really great relay. Wade to Manny to Maldonado, kept it a 2-run game. You know what? In the grand scheme of this game, ended up being really important, right? If it's a 3-run game and the Padres have the same exact offensive night through 9, guess what? Padres don't win this game. So nice job by the relay there by Wade to Manny, who made a great throw to home plate and saved a run, kept it just a 2-run deficit. It would stay 2-0 until the top of the 9th inning. That is our catch of tonight's game. A lot of good bullpen work, great bullpen work by the Padres in this win. Let's tell you about our relief pitcher of the game.
Which pitcher entered the game and slammed the door shut? This is today's relief pitcher of the game, presented by David P. Shapiro Criminal Defense Attorneys. When your freedom and future are on the line, you need the best arm in the pen. Visit davidpshapirolaw.com.
Our relief pitcher of the game, really no doubt about it. What a job by Sean Reynolds tonight. 3 scoreless innings to keep it a 2-run deficit, a scoreless 6th, 7th, and 8th innings. Gave up no hits, walked 1, struck out 2, 45 pitches tonight for Sean Reynolds. And how about this? Career high Reynolds tonight. He's now scoreless in all 7 career relief appearances. He's been asked to get 4 or more outs. So when he's been asked to go provide some length, he's actually been really, really good and was great tonight. I mean, you want to talk about MVPs of this game? Yeah, Manny had the big hit. Yeah, Cronenworth had the big hit. But I think you could argue Sean Reynolds might have been the MVP of this game with the way he pitched, how important those 3 innings were on a night where the Padres bullpen was short. And they were without Adam and without Suarez and without Morahone, who had all pitched back-to-back days. What a job by Sean Reynolds. No doubt about it tonight, our relief pitcher of the game. Phone number to call, 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. Let's go to Andy. Andy, you lead us off tonight on the Padres Radio Network. Go ahead.
What's up, Sammy? Can you hear me?
I can hear you loud and clear.
All right, Sammy. Well, I just want to give a big shout out to the Padres tonight. What a game, right? Man, all the heroes of the game, Manny, Jake, Berger coming out here and playing lights out. But I want to give a shout out to Brandon Lockridge for doing that.
For sure.
Was it in bottom of the 9th or the top of the 9th to be able to just continue to the rally? Without that single, we probably wouldn't even been able to win this game. So I just want to give him a shout out. I know we've been talking about left field and talking about Jaron Duran coming to the Padres. Man, Brandon Lockridge came in clutch tonight. And you could see how big a left fielder can really be, you know, in those moments.
Well, totally agree. And you saw how impactful his speed can be. You're right. Spot on, Andy. Gets on base to start that rally in the 9th inning. Infield single. Hit it hard to Adames, but Adames had to really rush it because he knew Lockridge was running and Lockridge can fly. Low throw to first base. Schmidt couldn't dig it out cleanly at first. Gets on first base, and that started the entire rally in that 9th inning. And by the way, Lockridge, remember, didn't start this game. He came in for defense after Iglesias had pinch hit in the 7th inning. Lockridge came in replacing Wade, who was in left field to start this game. And then Lockridge ends up getting a couple of at-bats in this game. By the way, he didn't end up scoring. Padres didn't end up getting another run, but after the Cronenworth RBI single, Lockridge then beat out another infield single in the 10th inning. If the Padres get another run in that 10th inning, his speed would have been even more impactful in this game. So, Lockridge, his speed made a big impact on this game because it sparked that entire rally in the 9th inning. If it's another runner there, maybe Adames isn't rushing as much as he was, makes a better throw to first base, but Lockridge can fly. Adames knew he had to hurry and threw it low. Schmidt couldn't dig it out, and safe at first base on an infield single. So played a huge role in this game. Good call. Go to Julian calling in. Julian, you're on the Padres Radio Network. Welcome in.
What up, Sammy?
Hey, what's up?
I just want to give a big shout out to Berger and Reynolds for holding it down, and you know it seemed like a little bit of like deja vu right there in like the bottom of the 10th. Like, you know, they get the sack bunt, and then you know they got a runner on third, 1 out, and then another hard hit ball to the left side, and then just snagged up by Xander. You know, and
yeah, good point.
Played that game, it just felt so much like it.
Yeah, good point. Good point. Yes, got the defense there by trying to catch up here, catch my thoughts here. Got the defense there by Bogarts at shortstop. Sorry. Brain freeze there. Bogarts made a nice play and then gets the final out of the game as well. But yeah, look, little deja vu to yesterday. Get a run in the 10th inning. A little bit different because the Padres bunted the runner over yesterday, played for 1. They weren't really doing that. You know, they had the 2-out single by Cronenworth, and then they ended up having the bottom of the 10th inning go their way. It was interesting. Giants playing essentially for a tie there with the number 9 batter Schmidt starting that inning. Ramos and Lee, not really for a tie because those guys can hit it out, especially Ramos. And Padres and especially Jeremiah Estrada did a great job keeping it on the infield, and ultimately a 3-2 win for the Padres in 10. Let's squeeze in one more phone call in this segment. Go to Trevor. Trevor, you're on the Padres Radio Network. Welcome in.
Hey, Sammy. Thanks for taking my call. Really appreciate it. First of all, I appreciate your professionalism. I think you are so good at what you do, and we're so grateful to have you here.
Oh, thank you.
I want to keep this light, and I'll just say this, let Manny be Manny. So between the Backstreet Boys and NSYNC, which is your favorite, and what are your favorite tunes from them, and who's your favorite Spice Girl?
Okay, great question, Trevor. I'm happy to answer all these questions for you. Not Padres related. Well, I'll answer your 2-part question. Number 1, NSYNC, the far superior boy band to the Backstreet Boys. I have about a 10-minute analysis I could give you. I'll spare our listeners from that, but NSYNC 100%. And my favorite Spice Girl, might need the break to think about that. I don't know that I ever had a favorite. Sporty Spice, definitely related to her. I like sports. How about Sporty Spice? I'll go with Sporty. How about that? All right. Final score, 3-2. Padres win it in 10. Our postgame coverage continues after this. Our Jamul Casino Resort Padres postgame show continues here on the Padres Radio Network. Final score on this Tuesday, the Padres 3 and the Giants 2. The final in 10 innings as the Padres win for a second consecutive night in 10 innings at Oracle Park in San Francisco. We'll have our play of the game in a moment. If you want to squeeze a phone call in, number is 833-288-73. A note from OptiStats. The Padres are the first major league team to win back-to-back road games despite being shut out through 8 innings in both since the Diamondbacks did it in 2001. So let me repeat that. The Padres are the first team since the 2001 Diamondbacks to win back-to-back road games despite being shut out through 8 innings. How about that? And by the way, you know what the D-backs did in 2001? They won the World Series. So what does that mean for the Padres? I guess we'll find out over the course of the next handful of months. And how about this? Both teams did it in San Francisco. Diamondbacks did it in San Francisco in 2001. Padres did it in San Francisco in 2025. How about that? Very rare. Look, it makes sense, right? I mean, these are very rare wins for the Padres. You talk about getting shut out on the road through 9 innings last night, finding a way to win, and then you're shut out through 8 innings tonight, find a way to win. In fact, if you look at it from the Giants' perspective, these 2 games, I mean, if you're a Giants fan, you're going crazy right now. Your pitching has been so good. Logan Webb throws 8 scoreless innings yesterday. Landon Root throws 6 1/3 scoreless innings. You've given up a grand total of 4 runs in this series, only 2 runs in regulation innings, and you've lost both games. I mean, the Giants offense, they're just not doing anything right now. You're going crazy if you're a Giants fan. But hey, credit to the Padres finding ways to win, and they improved to 35 and 24 with this win here tonight. We'll have our play of the game in a moment. First, let's take a full look at the out-of-town scoreboard.
Let's take a trip around the bigs to highlight the scores that matter most with our out-of-town scoreboard. Presented by Jensen Premium Beef Patties. Always a hit for grilling.
Full look at the out-of-town scoreboard. Everything final tonight. Rockies won again. 2 straight wins for the Rocks. Win number 11, 3-2 in Miami tonight. The Rockies' first series win in 22 series. How about that? Good for the Rockies. 11-50 on the year. They win it in Miami. Astros beat the Pirates 3-0 in Pittsburgh. Cubs beat the Nationals 8-3 in D.C. Yankees beat the Guardians 3-2 in New York. The Phillies beat the Blue Jays 8-3 in Toronto. Angels beat the Red Sox at Fenway in 10, 4-3. Reds beat the Brewers 4-2 in Cincinnati. Diamondbacks beat the Braves 8-3 in Atlanta. Rays beat the Rangers 5-1 in Tampa Bay. White Sox beat the Tigers 8-1 in Chicago. Royals beat the Cardinals 10-7 in St. Louis tonight. Orioles 5, Mariners 1 in Seattle. Twins beat up on the struggling A's 10-3 in Sacramento. And finally, Dodgers beat the Mets in 10, 6-5. Mets had a 5-4 lead in that game in the 9th inning. Max Muncy tied it with a home run. Dodgers found a way to win it in 10. And that's a look at the out-of-town scoreboard with the Padres winning. Dodgers remain 1 game ahead of the Padres for first place in the National League West. Again, the final score in 10, Padres 3 and the Giants 2. Padres trailed 2-0 in this game, but they mounted a rally in the 9th inning. 2-out walk to Fernando Tatis Jr., put the tying runs on base. A walk to Luis Arraez, loaded the bases. The tying runs were in scoring position for Manny Machado, and Manny delivered.
The line between winning and losing can be razor thin. Which play was the difference between victory and defeat? This is today's Play of the Game, presented by Bill Howe Plumbing, Heating, and Air.
Line drive towards left field. It's going to fall in for a base hit. Lockridge is going to score. Here comes Tatis. Here comes the throw. He slides. He's safe. Tie ball game. They throw behind Manny now. They might have him a run down. They'll allow Manny to go to second base to make sure that the run doesn't score. Padres have tied it up in the top of the 9th inning on a 2-out single by Manny Machado.
Who else
Manny Machado, 2-run single to tie the game at 2 with the Padres down to their final out. That is tonight's play of the game. A 4-hit day for Manny, who in the process raised his batting average on the year to .315, and he delivered, in my opinion, the hit of the night. Cronenworth doesn't have the opportunity in the 10th inning if Manny doesn't do what he did in the top of the 9th inning, a 2-run single to tie the game at 2 as the Padres go on to winning. As always, if you missed any portion of our post-game coverage, you can go back and listen to all of it on the Inside San Diego Baseball podcast with Sam Levitt, available on the Odyssey app or wherever you find your podcast. You can also go back on the 97.3 The Fan YouTube channel and watch any portion of our post-game coverage there as well. I do want to mention on the Inside San Diego Baseball podcast feed, I'm trying to do a better job of also including our pregame segments on there. And by pregame segments, I mean the interviews we do, also including postgame reaction, player reaction in particular on that podcast feed. So I'll give you an example. If you missed my interview, my catch up with Joe Musgrove from earlier today, that was up on the podcast feed, actually a little bit earlier than we played it here on the air. So going to try to do a better job getting our pregame content. We have so many great interviews, so much great content pregame. Get that up on the feed as well, so you can kind of treat the Inside San Diego Baseball podcast feed as a one-stop shop, if you will, for Padres audio content, everything we do on our pre and post game coverage. Looking ahead to tomorrow, same time, same place, 6:45 p.m. first pitch in San Francisco at Oracle Park. Our pregame coverage will begin at 5:45. Right-hander Nick Pivetta on the mound for the Padres, left-hander Kyle Harrison on the mound for the Giants. Taking a look at the final totals here tonight. In 10 innings for the Padres, 3 runs, 10 hits, 2 errors, they left on 13. For the Giants, 2 runs, 6 hits, no errors, they left on 7. Winning pitcher in this game, Yuki Matsui, who improves to 1-1. Losing pitcher was Spencer Bivens, who drops to 1-2, and the save goes to Jeremiah Estrada, his second of the season. Time of game, 2 hours and 48 minutes, and the crowd in San Francisco, 35,522. Once again, first pitch tomorrow, 6:45. Our pregame coverage begins at 5:45. Until then, for our great studio coordinator, Jeff Hamby, I'm Sam Levitt saying so long and good night from inside our San Diego studios. Again, the final score here tonight, the San Diego Padres 3 and the San Francisco Giants 2. We'll talk to you tomorrow on the Padres Radio Network. Have a great rest of your night, everybody.